Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Good afternoon, Michael Malice here. Let that be your welcome for the next hour. This episode has been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
We have with us Phil Labonte, the lead singer of All That Remains, metalcore band, hardcore band, heavy metal band. How would you characterize yourselves?
Metal is broad enough, and I think it's fair.
And you also are very active on social media, flapping your gums, which I enjoy.
I am a gum flapper. It upsets the people that should be upset by it. I think.
It's very fun upsetting people who should be upset by things.
They usually deserve it. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, I had a music question.
Okay.
Because something really awesome happened to me recently. I haven't told anyone this, and you're the first one I get to tell.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, so you could actually give me... Oh, that's my alarm that you're here. You could... That's turning on the Bluetooth. Okay, I feel like the Jetsons. You are a musician, and you've gotten like 9 albums under your belt.
9 records, yeah.
What is going on here?
Sounds like you're doing a record over there, Michael.
Yeah, let's put the needle on the record. When your music speaks to like young dudes, right? And
I think so.
And a lot of times these people are not doing so hot, and the kind of music you do gives them fun, its sense of belonging. I feel like you're the kind of band where there really is that kind of sense of connection.
We try to be, yeah. We try to be authentic. Like we were talking earlier about other bands and stuff, and All That Remains has never been an image band. We've never been a band that had makeup or a lot of theatricality or whatever. It's always been just 5 people getting on stage and doing their thing, and look and imagery and stuff was always secondary, if ever thought about at all. So
when you're been around for this long and have been this established, I feel like any band that's been around for that long and is still making it happen really develops a strong relationship with their audience. Yeah, because then it's like you're part of their lives, you're kind of their soundtrack. Mm-hmm. So why I'm getting at this is there's 2 groups that really influenced me a lot and why I'm Michael Malice. One is the Andy Warhol Circle, Candy Darling, Ultraviolet, Billy Name, and the other is the British punk scene. Okay. And you had Sid Vicious, Johnny Rotten, Polystyrene.
Yeah.
I just got in touch with Laura Logic, who is the saxophonist for X-Ray Specs.
Okay.
And I'm all giddy, and I'm gonna have her on the show in a couple of weeks, and I don't even really know how to talk to her, because when someone has their music affects you so much, you feel like you're going to be a total spaz talking to them, especially because for you go in the studio, these tracks are great. Maybe some of them, I'm sure, a lot more personal than others.
Absolutely.
But then like something you did 20 years ago, and in this case for her, 40 years ago, it's like you're affecting someone you've never met. It's like, it's just a weird asymmetrical relationship.
And the thing is, in your position, it's made more difficult that you're expected to be able to talk to that person. For me, if it's someone that makes me nervous, I can just shut up. I can be like, awesome to meet you. You had a big impact on my life. And then say nothing else, and know for sure if you don't say anything, you don't say anything foolish. That's what I did when I met Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. I said I was, nervous and blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, I'm a huge fan, been a fan all my life. You're a big reason why I do what I do. Shook the hand, stood there for the picture, and then shut my face and went away because I didn't want to stick my foot in my mouth, say anything silly or say make a joke that didn't come across right or whatever. Good luck.
Okay, so you have no advice.
I have no advice. No, obviously be yourself.
Okay, now I'm angry. Now I'm actually angry, and I'm gonna have a speech ready.
Okay,
that is the worst advice.
Be yourself.
You could give anyone. You are not the same person in the bathroom as you are in the bedroom as you are in the boardroom. This is useless advice.
Fair. Okay, all right. Be the Michael Malice that you bring to an interview, because you're a clever and intelligent person, And I think that that's probably the best approach. Don't try to be overly clever.
Yeah, I'm scared.
But really, I mean, be the Michael Malice that you present on the show, and that'll be okay. Because I don't know what you're like in the bathroom.
Oh, it's a mess.
I expect as
It's
much
like-
because most people are, but
No, it's like if someone had a toddler, there's just shit on the walls, literally.
hence the bidet in the
Yeah.
in the
It's
gas
an ass
digital.
disaster, which is my funniest apples to apples or Cards Against Humanity card. How do you react? Is that how? I mean, with social media, it's a lot easier to get in touch with people who you are a fan of musically. You must get a lot of that from dudes. Like, how do you respond to that? I mean, there must have been things that really touched you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime someone talks to me about music that's helped them get through hard times in life, because life is just. I mean, I'm a little bit on the black pill side, but life is a consecutive lineup of terrible things that happen to you, and you have to find ways to deal with that.
But that's Sisyphus. Sisyphus is happy. Have you read Camus?
No, I haven't. No.
No, that's why.
I don't know. I don't know Camus. No.
Well, you know the myth of Sisyphus.
I know the name Sisyphus, but I'm not.
So Sisyphus was punished by the Greek gods to roll a hill, roll a rock.
Oh, that
up a
okay.
hill.
That's Sisyphus. Okay.
And so Camus has a fable called The Myth of Sisyphus, where he talks about if you think things through, Sisyphus is happy because he's accepted that he's in this ridiculous position. And this is, and I can't speak just for Camus, but the point is, once you realize, it's part of a journey, you have a very limited amount of power, that gives you this enormous sense of freedom.
Yeah, that makes sense. And someone, I forget who I was speaking to recently, but I mentioned that I'm fairly black pilled, and someone was like, "You need to talk to Michael about why he's white pilled."
How can you? You are living the dream. Is it the drummer? I interviewed.
It's actually a bass player. but
Okay,
no.
I interviewed Belinda Carlisle years ago, and I said, "Is it the drummer? Why is it always the drummer?" She goes, "Well, maybe it's the lead singer. Ask the drummer. The drummer will tell you it's the lead singer."
I think that
It is the drummer. I knew it.
I'm not black pilled about my career or personal life. I'm black pilled about the political situation going on in the U.S. right now.
If you are going to base your happiness on politics, you're screwed.
You're screwed. Yeah.
But if you also think America is going to be defeated by, look at these people,
The clowns.
But that's what you're saying.
I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the process of getting through, I guess, is
Okay.
the conversation that I've heard you talk about. Getting through the resistance of the cathedral.
Sure.
To use vocabulary that you're familiar with. The resistance from the cathedral and the notion that things are going to be better by allowing the people that have been in power to remain in power or to be put back into power. If you consider Donald Trump outside of that, I'm not sure that I really consider him
Right.
outside of the cathedral. But if you are thinking of a world outside of that and you see the amount of power that they hold, it is difficult for me to envision an easy way through that, and the tumultuous times getting through that is probably.
You're the singer of a metal band. Why
Yes.
is you would be opposed to easy? You don't like Sarah Records stuff that I listen to. You like it tough and hard.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with standing up for what you believe in and fighting for what you believe in, but it's. I don't know that there's a lot of people out there that really want to. I'm afraid.
It's not about when's it about the numbers? You're not a Democrat, lowercase d.
I'm
So
not.
who cares?
I'm
It's
not.
always how many people did Lenin have?
It's the people with conviction.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
masses are. Look, if we were these same people, if they were born in Iran, they'd be jihadis.
Yeah.
If they were born in Israel, they'd be Hasidic Jews or whatever. They have no minds, so they're just gonna go with whoever's winning.
That makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah. I mean, maybe they are really only going to follow the easy path.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Can you name one thing that Joe Biden is better at or in a better position to do than FDR?
Oh no. I mean, I'm not. I can only tell you about what I know about FDR, obviously, because I didn't experience what it was like living, in the 30s and 40s and the fireside. I never sat down to listen to the fireside chats where that was the first time the president was speaking to the American people. All of that context is lost on me, so I'm aware of that. But I certainly don't imagine Joe Biden being any type of force that will move America,
Right.
But I do worry about people that don't have a desire to see a return to normalcy, but do want to see some type of significant change in our notion of liberal democracy. And I don't use democracy as the overall,
I know what you mean.
So I'm more concerned with people that are calling into question property rights, or if you have the right to own your own property, like land, property, or whatever, the means of production, where the line is for the means of production. Does your computer count as a means of production because so many people use computers, and those kind of questions really are the things that I'm concerned with, because they're things that I feel like when those questions come up with the people that want to have those conversations, they never actually want to answer those questions.
They don't want to have conversations. This isn't a conversation. This is a war.
Yeah.
Let me give you.
Well, this is the reason why I'm sure that this is why people said, look, you need to talk to Michael if you're kind of black pilled, because he's going to white pill you. And I'm like, all right then.
1934.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a book called, I think, Campaign of the Century. Upton Sinclair had written the book The Jungle and many others. He was a muckraker.
Yep.
That book is written about, for people who don't know, it's where the FDA got started. Like, he wrote about a sausage factory, and I think someone falls into the sausage casing, and there's rat droppings and blah,
That's
blah.
part of where the term "how the sausage is made" came from, right?
I don't think, is it? I don't think
know.
it is. Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
The point is, he'd never even been in a sausage factory. Because this book, oh my God, uproar. He was an open socialist. And he, despite never having political office, he managed to be the Democratic nominee for governor in California in 1934. This is 2 years after FDR gets sworn in as president with overwhelming Democratic majorities. The Great Depression is in full effect. It's a given. It's either 34 or 38. I don't remember. It's a given that capitalism doesn't work. We tried it, and now we've got like 30% unemployment. He campaigns on a platform called EPIC, End Poverty in California. Mm-hmm. Okay? And the premise of EPIC is the government is going to give everyone a job. This is during the Great Depression. And people are asking him, wait a minute, if California guarantees everyone a job, everyone's going to move here. How are you going to afford it? And he goes, we'll figure it out. He meets with FDR in the White House. And the question was going to be whether FDR was going to agree with him that profit should be illegal. So this is how close we were, and this is how bad it was back then.
I didn't know that the conversation got to that point in with FDR as the president.
In 1980, Reagan is sworn in. The top tax rate was 91%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now it's what, like 45? Every single trend, the only trend that's worse is how loud they are, but they're louder because they don't have a monopoly on the mic. If you're the old, look, when you're obviously you're loud on the mic when you perform, but if I'm the only one with a mic, I don't need to be loud.
That's fair.
But if there's 5 people on stage, I got to outshout everybody. Okay.
All right, there you go.
Good talk.
Problem solved. There you go.
So you endorsed Joe Jorgensen.
I have.
It's on your Wikipedia.
I've endorsed. Well, there's a lot of problems with Wikipedia just overall. I'm going to vote for Joe Jorgensen.
Okay. That's not the same. That's not the same.
Okay, so I'm going to vote for Joe Jorgensen because I like you've seen the meme of the libertarian policies versus the libertarian candidates.
Yes.
I like libertarian policies. I'll vote for them. Could never vote for Joe Biden, obviously. Not really a huge fan of Donald Trump, policy wise, but I have been wrong. I was the guy that was like trade wars are bad news all around. And I have yet to see, not saying that they're not coming or they couldn't come in the future, but I haven't seen the negative repercussions from the trade wars that Trump has been pursuing. So maybe I'm wrong about that, which is completely and totally something that I'm definitely open to. So I'm not a Trump. That was one of my major criticisms with Trump. I think that he has an impulse for authoritarianism.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The especially when it comes to Second Amendment stuff, like ban the guns, due process second, going after bump stocks, they're talking about arm braces. I'm a Second Amendment kind of guy, so that matters to me. I like tax cuts because it is a cut to what I consider immoral. I think I genuinely do think most taxation is theft. But I want to see the government cut in conjunction with tax cuts because I want to see spending come down. I don't want to see us continue to run deficits and especially the types of deficits that we're running and stuff. So that's my estimation is I think that Jo Jorgensen best represents the things that I want. People criticize her for the tweets about Black Lives Matter and the tweets about anti-racism, and I think that I agree with the criticism. But I also think that should Jo Jorgensen win, or if you look at libertarian policies more broadly, they would be getting rid of the Department of Education, and they would be getting rid of all the bureaucracy that allows for things like critical race theory to be promoted, I guess, in government and stuff like that. So I'm voting for Jo Jorgensen because of those reasons. I'm just one guy, and I don't think one vote is that big of a deal. So, but I mean, ideally, I want to see Joe Biden lose more than I want to see anyone else on the ticket win,
Hey guys, Michael Malice here. Today's episode is brought to you by one of my favorite sponsors, Sheath Underwear. They're near and dear to my heart and genitals. If you go to sheathunderwear.com, SHEATH underwear.com, use code MALICE20, you get 20% off your order. Here's why Sheath are great. They're the most comfortable underwear you'll ever own, but they're unique because they have these dual pouches to keep your man parts separated. And I got to tell you, sitting here on this mic, knowing my underwear is doing a number on me down there is giving me all sorts of sinister joy. If you go to sheathunderwear.com and use code MALICE20, you get 20% off. Look at their website because they've got like the basic colors. They've got camo. I've got all 4 colors of camo to make my parts even more invisible. And it's great for working out or being in hot environments. The guy who created it's a vet. So in the desert, you can imagine how hot it gets. And this is a good way to keep cool no matter what you're doing. Sheathunderwear.com, promo code MALICE20. Let's get back to the show. A good buddy of mine is a strength coach, and I have a few people who work in the fitness space, which is such a high testosterone, like male-driven space. And they told me, and I was very surprised to hear this, that that's become infected with this kind of social justice warrior nonsense, which you'd never expect to see just on an evolutionary psychological level. Like, high T, you're going to have less empathy at the very least. Is like, has your political views, talking social media, has that given you crap with your work?
Oh yeah. There's a couple. So the media in general, like the Cathedral media, it's not just your straight news. You see it in Teen Vogue, obviously, when Teen Vogue writes writes pro-Marxism things, and that also filters through to entertainment press and even to even to something that's niche, which is like the heavy metal world. There's multiple blogs that are very, very very far left, and the people that run those blogs, if you go to their Twitter accounts, you see all the people that they're following and friendly with and tweet with, and it's all the usual suspects of the Cathedral that you would imagine. They're friends with people from Vice and from Motherboard and from New York Times and blah blah blah. It's all that kind of cabal of people, and so I've taken a lot of heat for sometimes dumb things that I said or offensive things that I've said because I haven't moderated myself intentionally sometimes. But I've taken a lot of heat from the metal media and stuff like that.
How does that work though? Because as the front man, you have a relationship with four other dudes, right? So you can't really be your own person entirely because you do have to kind of not, where I would think, try not to make things difficult for them.
I never say anything from anything that's the band page. So there's my page, but I would never put. So there's the band Trapped. Anyway, okay. So
we're gonna have to go through my iPod, and we're gonna have a fun little Venn diagram between what I have and what you have.
There's a band. There's a band that had a really big hit song in the early 2000s, I think, and he speaks on behalf of Donald Trump from the Trapped page.
Oh,
so
okay.
when there's tweets going out about things and political commentary, it's from the official Trapped band page. I would never do that. I would never speak for All That Remains.
Yeah, but that's a very valid and fair perspective, but you're not going to be able to keep the feedback from spilling over.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah.
So have your bandmates sat down with you? Has this been an issue with them?
No.
You're very fortunate then.
I started the band. And
yeah, but still, it's kind of like I can very easily be like, dude, did we need this right now? We're going on tour, and I could be like, see you being like, yeah, you're right, I get it.
Yeah, no one said anything, and I think it's partly because it's been part of my MO, and partly because we're not a marketed, product. We're not that type of product. We're authentic. We've always wanted to be like normal guys. So when we were coming up and got our start in the music industry, at least when I did, it was like grunge was kind of the thing. And like the 80s hair bands had really taken all the energy out of even self-promotion to some extent is something that for me, I've never been really all that great at it. There's only recently in the past few years is there Phil Labonte merch and Phil Labonte doing this or whatever. It's always been, I go and I do my own thing on Twitter. The band has shirts, the band has this, but I've never really been a promoter of myself.
Well, if you go to podcastmerch.com, you can get this shirt.
There you go.
Available in navy and green. And no other colors.
None?
None, just those two.
Just those two.
Yeah.
I like the shirt.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think that there have been times where people in the band have probably been like, I wish you didn't do that. But it's never been a situation where people are like, oh, hey, you really need to stop this or I'm going to leave.
How did you survive 2020 without being able to tour? Because I'm sure at this point, this is like, this is second nature to you.
Yeah. A lot of it has been, I mean, we're a successful band with a successful brand. So we do have a head start. So I started streaming on Twitch a few times a week. But the band has, we have royalties that come in and stuff. So it's
I just mean psychologically.
I'm a guy that lives in the woods. Like I live in the woods in New Hampshire, and I live a very solitary type of life. Coming to New York, like I'm walking around here, and I'm like, man, I don't know how people do it. And it's. I understand that there are, some people like cities and stuff like that. For me personally, it's not my thing.
Okay, this doesn't make sense to me because if you're a performer and a front man, you're getting some energy from the crowd, or else like why are you on that stage? You could be in your house making the music and not touring, and you obviously guys tour a lot.
And that's my favorite thing about being in a band is playing the shows.
Yeah, but if you're in your Thoreau Walden house, like talking to like the Magpies or whatever, you're not getting any the feedback.
I've always been an introverted kind of person, and being alone has never, like being isolated from people and being alone has never been a problem for me ever. I can go. So last week I went to Tim Pool's. Drove down there, did his thing, stayed over at his place, came back home, spent the entire next day locked up in my room, like in my office. Didn't go out, didn't do anything, and that's kind of, I guess, how I kind of moderate it.
Okay.
If I go out and I do, like today, I'll go do this. Tomorrow, I'll go home and I will stay home all day and I'll do my stream in the evening, but I won't go out. I won't do anything, and that's kind of a balance. So I'll go on tour and then I come home from tour, and for the first week, It's like I sit in my room and don't go anywhere.
I've worked with a lot of professional badasses in my day, and every single one of them, and I bet you're one of them also, has a closet secret nerd side. And if I had to guess, I bet you have an amazing arsenal back home.
I mean, I have some guns.
No, but I mean, like, you dork out over them.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's specificity, certain things that I like, and all of my things are set up the same way. Doesn't matter which one I grab, they all work the same.
Yep.
And so yeah,
It's fun.
it is.
Like,
It's very fun.
what was the moment when you realized, wait a minute, I'm actually can do this and pay my rent, and this is my life, instead of like, because it's tough breaking. I mean, especially any kind of band. It's just like, all right, you got to have relationships. Is this going to go the long term? I'm sure people are like, oh, I still get it. Get a real job. It's like, why would it be better for me to have an alarm clock and go into an office? Like, what are the advantages in your mind?
I think the reason that people say that is because when they see people doing things that don't look like work to them. So when we were
right.
writing,
Yeah.
when we were writing a record, I had a roommate back in early part of last decade, like 2011, 12. We were doing a record, and I'm just sitting in front of my computer at my place. Actually, I was living with a buddy. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm kind of just looking at Twitter, and I'm kind of just, blah, 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 listening to some of the demos that we had, right? So the music's playing, just sitting there. And my buddy comes over, and he's just like, why don't you go do this? And I'm like, I'm working. And he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, this is what it looks like. I have to write songs. So once the music's done, there's a whole half a song that's got to be done. That's lyrics and an idea and a story and got to be able to say something to the listener that they can relate to. So, I read stuff and look at the internet and blah, blah, blah. But that kind of idea of, no, you're not.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is part of the process. And it's such an abused term, the process, because I've gone to Los Angeles and sat in a room with a bunch of people that are drinking and doing drugs, and they say, it's all part of the process, man. And you're like, you ain't done crap, man. This ain't the process. You're sitting there just smoking joints until you fall out of your chair, but so there is some, I think there's some truth in you ain't doing nothing, but you can never tell when something's going to go. And then it's like, boom, a song just falls right at you,
Hey guys, Michael Malice here. Here's the thing. You guys know about the social dilemma that big tech companies use your data to manipulate what you see, control where your data goes, and leaves you devoid of data property rights. Now, you can't stop YouTube from censoring Ron Paul, but you can take your data and attention away from places like Facebook, Twitter, and Google to compete in the market for the value present in your data. There's something called UBDI. Go to ubdi.com, or you can download it on the Apple Store or Google Play. And what it does, it's built by a fan of the show to solve this problem by allowing members to talk, learn, and earn with their data across apps like Spotify, Amazon, LinkedIn, Steam, all in one anonymous social network. UBDI helps you understand and visualize the data these companies store on you. At the same time, you're building a digital asset library only you own and control. And you can enter into verified, bot-free tribes of people. It's like joining a fitness community. And inside these groups, you could see people sharing their hot Robinhood trades. You can see them streaming the shows that they're listening on Netflix, crypto stuff. It's all there. If you go to ubdi.com or download UBDI on the Apple Store or Google Play. Let's get back to the show. I'm scared to read my old books because I feel like I'm going to cringe, or because, I was talking about this with Douglas Murray. You remember, it goes through 12 drafts, right? But you remember the first draft, even though it's not visible in the final, and you feel like it's going to be full of mistakes because every time you're reading it, by the time it gets to publication, all you're doing is looking for mistakes and ways to improve. So I'm scared. And the few times I have gone back, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. Nice job, kid. What's your relationship like with your older material?
Some of it is better than others.
Okay, yeah.
Our first couple records, we were not the band that I wanted to be. We
Okay.
had issues with members that couldn't perform and play the stuff that we were looking for. So instead of being like, no, we're not going to put anything out until we get new members and get everything, I was pushing to get something out there, getting the name out there, having some product that people could listen to, just for brand recognition, I suppose.
Yeah.
So our first couple records, the first two records really were us trying to find our sound. And then our third record, which came out in 2006, was really the first record where we were like, all right, we've got all the stuff that we need. We're firing on all cylinders. Everything is good to go. And that record it was the record that put us on the map. I don't know that we would have had the success with that record without the previous two records kind of building a foundation, but it was definitely a situation where we were a work in progress. So looking back at the first two, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
but then, then we'll go back and I'll look at the record that came out in 2006 called The Fall of Ideals and be like, all right, yeah, that felt good. And that felt like it was supposed to.
The thing is, they're like, if you like a song, like not your own song, but somebody else's, at a certain point, you're like, all right, I get it. I'm sick of it. You don't have that luxury, right? There's songs that you have to do them and you have to, like, this means a lot to a lot of people. And it's 20 years with this effing song already.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of it. I mean, how many, is there like one that you're thinking of that
Yes.
you're like,
So like I said, I stream on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Phil That Remains, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
what's on Wednesday?
Day off.
Oh, okay. That's the Lord's Day.
It's just a hump day, so that way
Yeah.
I can I don't know, not stream, I guess.
Okay.
I don't really know. But every day I open the stream. I try to open the stream like a show. So I've got the stream starting screen, and then I'll run a little intro music, whether it be the intro to the song, if it's a little bit longer or whatever, and then like I'll turn my screen on right as the vocals come in, kind of like as if you're taking the stage, doing my best to give some type of a show to the people that are watching, because most of the people that are watching the stream, they miss concerts.
Sure,
if they're
of
going to watch the
course,
stream,
yes.
they want to see shows.
Especially
So-
with your kind of, it's so high energy into the moshing and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
So I try to put on a show for them. I try to do what I can in my office, in my studio. And then the second song that I'll play is a song called Six. And it was on that record that I was telling you about from 2006, The Fall of Ideals. It was also on Guitar Hero 2, and it was the second hardest song on there when you play it on Expert. So that just means the kids that are 12, 13, 14 years old are just drilling that thing in their heads until they can master it on Expert. So if I didn't have to sing that every night, I wouldn't mind. But, people like it, so I'm not going to say no. But I do it second every single time I stream. So I tell people, look, if you want to hear Six, and invariably someone comes to the stream late and is like, play Six. And I'm like, I already did it, man. You got to get here early.
See,
So,
this is what really bothers me. So I'm a huge Blondie fan.
yeah.
And they did this
We have
thing.
the same management.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, we have the same management.
Should I? I'm not going to talk shit about Debbie. I got some things I could say. but I'm not.
Probably not.
Yeah, that
Please
band
don't.
means too much to me. They did this show for VH1 called like By Request, I think it was called. They had a series, concert series.
Okay.
And basically the conceit was fans would call in from home and request songs, and the band would just spontaneously play them live. And all the songs that called in were the hits. And I'm like, okay, if you want to hear Blondie play Titus High, go on YouTube. There's literally
A million.
a million versions.
Yeah.
And some are going to be good and some are not going to be good. If you want to hear, I want to hear I'm on E. I want to hear Fan Mail.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are songs I'm not going to be able to get them to hear. And it really there's so that on that level, it's like, if you want to hear him play Six, go to Yesterday. And he played Six.
Yeah.
And he played 100 times, so now it's 600.
Yeah. I do. And I agree with you. And I have actually been pleasantly surprised at the requests that I get. So people can go ahead and, how Twitch goes, donations and similar to super chats and whatever.
Yeah.
people can go ahead and say, "Oh, I want to hear this song," and then if they donate, they put it up to the top of the list and blah blah blah. And I've been really pleasantly surprised that there are people that come in and they're like, "I want to hear this deep cut. I want to hear Empty Inside. I want to hear this song. I want to hear that song." And I'm like, "Really? You guys want?" I'm like, You know I have to learn that, right? Because we recorded it 10 years ago, and we had never played that thing live.
What's the bridge, mama?
But it happens all the time, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I gotta pull out some of the old songs and brush up on them, and it's gone really well. People that want to hear the deep cuts, they understand pretty much, at least. When they come to the stream, they don't complain if I fudge some words or whatever. They're like, "Man, that's so cool." And I'm like, "Did you not hear me mess this?" They're like, "I don't care. You did it for me and you're talking to me now." And so they're happy, you know?
Yeah, but also you're happy because this is a real fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so exciting.
I mean, the thing is, like, people ask me, like you said, what are you doing? And the Twitch stream has honestly been such a, I mean, I'm not a religious guy, but such a blessing for me, because like it gives me a chance to perform and connect with the audience that they're all sitting at home too. Even here in New York, it's like I was walking around earlier. It's like it's cool to walk around New York. Don't expect to stop anywhere though, because there's nowhere to hang out and stay. Yeah. It's all you got to walk around and go hit places and blah blah blah. The ice cream joint was great. What was it called?
Ice and Vice.
Ice and Vice. If you're in New York City,
no, it's closed.
Well, if you are around in the next couple of days,
no, this is airing after it's closed.
Oh, you mean it's done?
It's done. De Blasio killed it. That's what I told you.
Oh God, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes,
you missed out. It's the best ice cream. You missed it.
So I want to ask you what you do, because what I do, I travel a bit, or I was before this Corona thing, and I don't like doing touristy stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I like to do is when I go to a city, I go to the weird ice cream place. Because number one, it's going to be fun. But
Smart.
Two, that's probably also going to be in a cool, slightly off the beaten path neighborhood. So then you can walk around that area and explore it. So and you also psychologically, you feel, okay, I had a goal. I met my goal. My male brain, which needs to hunt, has accomplished its goal. And now the rest of the day I can relax. So, I mean, when you're tour, like what do you do with all the spare time? Because you're going to have, you're going to have the rehearsal, of course, and the stage rehearsal, dress rehearsal, whatever you call it, but you're still gonna have a lot of downtime.
A lot of exercising, a lot of going to the gym. I hate to admit it, but I have a Planet Fitness membership because the black card
Lock alarm!
Because the black card
Lock alarm!
Because the
Bill
black card
deadlifts.
works
Bill deadlifts.
Works all over the country, and
Bill
you can do
deadlifts.
deadlifts in a Smith machine. You can. It's not fun.
My God.
It's not.
I can't believe what you just said.
They're not good, but it's because
they're not deadlifts.
Well, I mean, all right, fine.
The Smith machine?
It's barely a deadlift. I know. It's more like a good morning, but even still, the point is because look, we're not playing.
I thought you were a hardcore band. What is this? Hardcore band with a hardcore brand? No, sir.
Michael.
This is like the Brady Bunch version of hardcore.
The reason is because you can use the black card nationwide. You can't do that with any other things. You can't go to a different place. So you end up spending $30-$40 every day trying to go to the gym. And you can't do that every day on tour. Are you kidding me?
No. Are your shins scraped?
Currently, no.
So embarrassed for you. I'm so embarrassed.
I know, like I said, I knew bringing it up was going to be. You probably have me blushing now, Michael.
Oh my God!
So, it's like I said.
I wouldn't want to make you sweat because you don't like doing that. Spend some time on the elliptical, Tony Little.
It works nationwide, and you can go anywhere in the country and get a shower.
And free pizza.
Do they really do free? I've never
yes,
seen
they
them
do.
Free
And have your Diet Coke, Tubby.
I've seen them do the
cupcakes,
free bagels.
Bagels, yeah,
I've seen those bagels.
It was like 500 calories for those.
Something like that. It's disgusting. So
I can't believe you do deadlifts. This is the most offensive thing anyone's ever said in the show, and this room is called the gas chamber.
The most offensive thing anyone's ever.
Deadlifts on the Smith machine.
I didn't say this was optimal. I'm just saying that this is what you do.
You said it's possible. It's not possible. It's not a deadlift.
Why? All right. So why do you say it's not a deadlift?
Because there's no full range of motion. You're half of the thing. It's like a huge assisted lift if you're doing the Smith machine. The whole point of the deadlift, it's a compound movement that does your whole body.
You can. Well, it doesn't. Like I said, that's why it's more like a good morning because it really only does your lower back, glutes, and hamstrings. If you're doing it in a Smith machine, but
Oh my god, Planet Fitness.
look, it's the option that makes it possible for me to go to the gym nationwide.
Okay,
That's why.
When touring resumes,
Yeah.
I'm going to PayPal you $30. So when you go to your next town, you'll go to a real gym.
If you want to PayPal me $30 every day,
Well, I mean, you're going to do it once, and you're going to have a back injury because I'm sure your form is terrible because you're on the Smith machine. You'll put your one plate on, then you'll go get your pizza and your bagel.
and I would eat the after show or the food there after I work out because food.
Do you have a rider on your tour? Mm-hmm. What's the weirdest thing on your rider? Or is it not that weird?
There's nothing weird at all. We try to get.
Is there like a brand that you're loyal to?
No.
Okay.
No. Like we just get a lot of eggs and a lot of
Like cooked eggs?
No, eggs that we can cook because we have a hot plate. We do a ton of.
It's versatile eggs.
Yeah,
and easy
we
cook.
We do a lot of cooking on the actual bus because you've got three of the
Sure,
dudes.
it's not baking, sweetheart.
We have three dudes that go to the gym regularly and
eat at the gym.
No, not
while
at the
watching
gym.
people do actual deadlifts. Got to do those crunches, huh?
But so our rider is full of food.
Okay, eggs. What else?
A lot of ground beef because it's easy.
Yep.
A lot of chicken breast because those you can cut up and cook. A lot of rice. We have a rice cooker usually.
These are great basics to have versatility and not get sick of the food, but something you can't screw up easily.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
very smart.
Yeah. So and it's better than being like, yo, provide us with food because you're getting trash.
Yeah. It was really funny. There's a Talking Heads. When they were touring America back in the early 80s, I think it was, they had a sushi rider. And they were like in Arizona, and they had to cancel the show. They're like, we don't know what this is. This is Arizona. There's no water here to begin with. Number one in sushi. And there's a song by Saint Etienne called Sushi Rider, which I'm guessing is a reference to that.
That's kind of great. I would love to have a sushi rider, but not that ain't happening for us.
But also, you don't know because they could be garbage. I mean, you don't want that.
I can't. I mean, when I say I would love to have a sushi rider, I'm assuming that it's good quality.
No, I think they just said like a tray of sushi. Just like that's rolling dice.
That's a terrible idea.
Especially if it's sitting out there the whole show.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Hey guys, there's this podcast I came across that I think you would absolutely love to hear. It's called A Neighbor's Choice, and it's hosted by David Gornosky. If you go to aneighborschoice.com or his YouTube is youtube.com/David Gornoski. What's interesting about the show, it's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket that makes sense of the gaslighting of the corporate press and why they use victims to gain power. David talks to guests like Ron Paul, Jeff Deist of the Mises Institute, very failed Mises Institute. He also does deep dives with cultural figures like Jordan Peterson, Scott Adams. This is the kind of podcast that listeners of this show will be sure to find interesting. He believes understanding anthropology helps dismantle fake news and politically protected pseudoscientific dogmas that hold us back. This is clearly something that I discuss a lot and that you will find interesting. Plus, each week you'll hear solutions from scientists on the cutting edge of market innovations in energy, nutrition, and medicine. He brings his neighbors on a mind-blowing journey, and that's at aneighborschoice.com or youtube.com/David Gornosky. Let's go back to the show. So how do you crash right after your performance? Like, what's that, like physically? Because it's a high-energy gig.
Usually what we do is we play, get off stage, and then you have half an hour to an hour to kill before we do a meet and greet. And then we'll
okay.
go.
That's got to be a lot of... Is it fun or is it draining?
It's pretty cool.
But you're an introvert, though.
It's pretty cool. Usually, because we do the meet and greets that we do, we'll have people come up to the table.
Okay.
And they can be like, yo, I want to meet the band, blah, blah, blah. Here's the, yada, yada. And so they'll, be in line, or we sell them in advance, usually with a company. But people are always so pumped. Like they're really, really full of cool people that are just like, oh, I really appreciate it. Yes, of course, there are sometimes awkward people. You get that anytime you interact with, just G-pop. You get people that maybe they make a joke and it doesn't come across right or whatever, or you make a joke and they don't get it or whatever.
I wasn't joking. I'm embarrassed for you.
But it's fine. It's okay.
I know, it's my show. You are welcome. You're not Laura Logic. I'm scared of you. Now, if this was Laura Logic, and she's the Planet Fitness. Oh, man.
She can go there all she wants.
Oh,
right?
thank you, Ms. Logic. Go on.
You're like, man, I should have wore my purple shirt. But no, they're genuinely, people are almost every single time you meet someone in a band context, they're always nice. They're always cool. About the only time you'll meet someone that isn't nice and cool is if it's at like one of the big festivals and you've got the big long line and they're kind of just in the line
to meet whoever they can.
Because whoever's there. But if it's people that are coming and paying money to meet all that remains, they're like, they're constantly, yo, man, I saw you here and you shouted me out or you pointed at me or I love this song. And there's always something personal that means something to them. And it's so cool. And it's such a great privilege to be able to be like, I get to do this. And on top of it, people come up to me and tell me that it matters that I do it. Not just that I get to do this and people are like, yeah, it's cool. But like, I get to do something I love and people come up and they're like, this touches me. This affects me. There's a lot of dudes that are, being the aggressive metal stuff. And we've got, the U.S. has had 20 years of war. So there's a ton of dudes that serve in the military and they come up to me and they're like, dude, this song got me through my deployment. Dude, this song is the stuff that whenever I was out and we'd go out outside the wire and it'd get me amped up, or we'd come back and I'd listen to this song because it makes me think of my girl at home or what and all that kind of stuff. And I've had that experience because I was married to a woman that was in the Marine Corps and she deployed multiple times, so I know what it's like to be the spouse at home. And I've written songs about it. And sometimes people are like, "Yo, dude, this one really hit me." And it's such a privilege to be able to tell stories about my life and sing about things that are on my mind and have people come up to me and say, it matters to me that you did that. And they look at me and they say, you did this for me. And I'm like, I did it for me, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that that it touches you.
I want to talk to the audience on this because you're saying something and they need to understand something. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, this moved me or this touched me. And they think, oh, you hear this a lot. If you have a favorite restaurant, right? Maybe you've had the steak there 100 times. It's still amazing every time.
Yeah.
So even though maybe 20 other dudes have told you this is something that matters, I'm telling you to the fans, like it's not the 21st that you're going to roll your eyes. It's still really jarring and moving.
If I go on about it too much, I will tear up.
Yeah, it's really
literally
kind of intense, and I think we're both very lucky.
Yeah.
Like the thing that gets, like I don't want to get into this too much because it's a very weird thing because like you said, it's like I'm in my underwear doing this and you're like fighting some big epic fight. And then it's like, this helped you. It's like, I'm still in my underwear.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I got to jump around and run around like a fool on stage and you guys enjoyed the show. And for you to come up and tell me that it matters to you and that it moves you and that it touches you, it's tough to really articulate how much of an impact that has.
Is there? I know that there has to be a yes, and you're going to reveal what the answer is.
Okay.
There's got to be a song where when people tell you, "Oh my God, this is my favorite song of yours," that you lose respect for them. There's got to be. It's like, really, dude? That's the one.
No.
You're lying.
No. I would never lie to you, Michael.
There's got to be one. Help them not lose your respect.
I would never, ever take anything. I would never take that away from someone by telling them that I don't want to hear. I look at it like this. This is how I approach songwriting and telling people what a song's about, right? So people are constantly there, like they want to talk to the writer and say, what's this song about? And I do my best to not get too specific. You know, if it's a love song or whatever, it's obvious. It's obviously it's a love song. It's about the girl that I was with, about my wife at the time, or whatever, right? If someone's asking, oh, what does this mean? And they want me to get more specific, I'm like, I don't want to take that away from the listener. If I tell you this is what it's about, but the listener was like, I think it's about this, and then I say, no, it's not about that, then I'm taking something from them. And I don't want to do that. When I write a song, I put it out there, it stops being my story and it becomes the listener's story.
I agree with that entirely, and that's a great tap dance. But that's but what I'm saying is there has to be songs where you are genuinely, to your core, happy that it means something to them. But at the same time, psychologically, you're like, really, dude, that's the one? And this way, next time when they meet you, they won't realize you're judging them secretly. They'll know to bite their tongue. So I'm helping them. There's more than one. That's the thing. He's got a list.
Well,
he's got a list of stepchildren.
There's a whole record or two. I mean, I told you it took us a while to get to the point.
That's fair enough.
Where I was like, okay, I feel like we're firing on all cylinders. Anything pre-firing on all cylinders, I'm like,
okay, fair enough. What's the one song that really has had that biggest emotional impact with you and the audience? Is it 6?
No.
Because there must be one that they bring up a lot, or a couple.
Well, the first time we ever tried to write a metal ballad, like an 80s style power ballad, is a song called "What If I Was Nothing," and that song it's our biggest song, and it's the song that people tell me we sang. We danced to this song at our wedding,
God, that's amazing.
And I played this song when I asked my wife to marry me, and blah blah. Like those kind of.
That's chilling. Like to have someone tell you that, like you're the soundtrack to their most precious moment.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, it is. It's a wow thing. It's like I can't believe that I wrote something that matters so much to so many people. And it's not complex.
Yeah.
It's a 4-chord song, the story is very simple, and it's something that just connects with people, and I'm super happy that I got to tell that story.
When you were writing that, was it like, holy crap, magic is happening? Or did you only realize it later?
The only people that knew that it was going to be something good was me and our guitar player, Mike. Because the song was all me and Mike. Mike came up with the chord progression and the riffs. I wrote the lyrics and the melody. And when we were in the studio doing it, our producer was like, I don't get it. And I'm like,
yeah.
What do you mean? It's a 4-chord song. The lyrics are, what if I was nothing? What if this is true? What if I was nothing, girl? Nothing without you. It doesn't get any simpler than that, right? Like, what do you mean you don't get it? And then, like, by the time we got through it, he was like, oh, okay, I get it. But
he was lying. He still didn't get it. Oh, I get it. He didn't get it.
I'm like, man, you got platinum albums. What do you mean you don't get it? But yeah, like it was me and Mike just kind of had our, like, we were like, all right, this is gonna be cool, and we knew it. We were like, all right, that's gonna be great, and it, lucky for us, it came out well, and people agreed.
Where and when were you when you first heard your first song on the radio of yours? That's got to be one of those amazing moments.
I was in Chicopee, Massachusetts, and it was in 2000, either end of 2008 or 2000. It had to be 2008 because it was the record came out in 2008, and it was the lead single, a song called 2 Weeks. That was the first time that we ever did a song that could be played on rock radio. Everything before that had screams, double bass, like Cookie Monster vocals, really underground metal stuff. And the first time that we ever did a song that was kind of aimed at rock radio, we really hit the mark with the song. And I think if we didn't hit the mark, we wouldn't have been able to continue with a rock radio career. After that song, that one made it into the top 10. And for a band that had no no previous indication that they were going to be writing rock songs. For your listeners, the way that it works is a radio station doesn't want to just play a good song. They want to commit to a band because, and this is probably not the same now because it's a different world 10 years later or 15 years later or whatever. But it used to be they wanted to be able to say, we're going to play this song, and when they release another single, people can go to our station and they'll know that we'll play that. And then when the band comes to town, people will know to listen to our station.
It's a commitment.
Exactly. So it's a commitment and it's a long-term commitment. So with us having multiple records before this that were not geared towards rock radio, we had to have something that was really a home run, or else they're going to be like, well, it's a cool song, but no. And there were a handful of radio stations that really, really liked it and got on board, and the song just stayed on the charts forever. Never made it to the top 5 or number 1 because there were all these other bands are putting stuff out. They had commitments and stuff, but it just stayed, and people kept calling for it. And if it wasn't for that song doing that, there wouldn't have been follow-ups. We wouldn't have had other singles and stuff. But that was the song called 2 Weeks is probably, if it's not our biggest song, it's one of them. You
must still enjoy doing it then because it has a lot of emotional resonance because this song put you on the map.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like every time you could still remember being young and thinking, are we going to make it? And thanks to this song we did. So it's kind of like a good luck charm.
I mean, our career has had a lot of really cool points in it where you're like, wow. Because when I started out, I played, underground death metal.
Yeah.
There was never a time when I was a teenager that I thought I was going to play death metal for a living.
Yeah.
That's
not a thing.
No.
Yeah.
Back, I remember seeing a lot of European bands would come over and they'd be around to hang out and BS with, and they'd tell these stories. Oh, I'm from Sweden and we get paid by the Swedish government to play music because we're exporting a Swedish product, and we were like, that's so cool. I didn't know anything about economics or whatever. I was 17.
It's still pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like go play metal.
Yeah,
in another country and stuff. And so we talked to those guys, and they're like, yeah, but when we go home, we still have jobs and blah blah blah.
Oh, that's so cool.
We were like, I love playing metal. I'm probably never gonna do it for a living. I'll probably have a regular job and blah blah blah. And that was, what I expected. So to be able to just make a career out of it and just do this for the past, I haven't had a job since 2004.
I was in college. Are you not an old school British punk fan?
I'm not a punk rock fan at all. I came from metal, strictly metal. So it was like the hair metal
that's so interesting, yeah.
into thrash metal, Metallica, Exodus. My experience, and I do have a little aside about punk rock that blew my mind. But I was always a metal guy, and I'll tell you the aside about punk rock now. So the Dead Kennedys just the other day posted a picture of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and it was a meme. It just said, "I sent the fly," from the Dead Kennedys official account, and I just quote tweeted it, and I just said punk rock. Clowning them, of course, because
the Dead Kennedys came much later, and anything out of California except for the Go-Go's wasn't really that good.
Yeah,
X is terrible.
It just didn't seem like punk rock.
Johnny Rotten endorsed Trump.
I think that's hilarious.
Johnny Rotten, when they got together, was on in the 90s. You know what he did? He performed dressed like Pinocchio. Because he's like, this is what, you want the safety pins? Fuck you. I'm here in a fucking Pinocchio costume.
Okay, yeah, it's all a lie kind of deal.
Yeah, when I was, what I was going to, what I was saying is when I was listening to X-Ray Specs in college, my roommate walked in and he said to me, how can you listen to this? It just sounds like people screaming.
I've heard that a few times in my life.
This is a stupid question, but I have to ask it. How do you keep your voice from not being shot?
I warm up.
Okay.
So,
but just over the years, that's a lot of abuse, or is it not abuse?
Well, if you scream properly, you can do things to enhance the longevity of your voice. So there's really not anything that I can't do at 45 that I could do at 30. There are things that I can do more frequently, or that I could do more frequently at 30 than I can at 45.
Yeah, like at bagels at the gym.
Yeah, exactly. I could play. We could play. Back when I was 30, I could probably play. 6 shows a week, 5 shows a week. I don't want to do more than 4 now.
That's still a lot. That's no joke.
Screaming, and and when I like my streams, I'll stream for a couple hours, but I'll sing for about an hour, and that's about it. I don't smoke anymore. I quit smoking cigarettes about a year and change ago. Quit drinking booze 4 years ago now. And I think that those are the best things to do for your voice is to
especially
not
smoking.
Smoke. Yeah, not smoking, not drink. I have acid reflux, and the booze didn't help that at all.
That's no joke.
It was tearing up my throat, so I had to stop that. Among many reasons, booze I don't think is a. I mean, if you're a person that can have 1 or 2 drinks or whatever, killer, good for you. I don't have the ability to moderate that and get 3 drinks in me and then look out, so.
There must be some bands you like that people would be shocked to know that you like that are on your iPod, right?
I don't know. I mean, if people don't know me, maybe. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. A massive Taylor Swift fan. So, and I'm a big fan. I went to the
I'm going to guess, because you and I are the same age about, that you have a soft spot in your heart for Debbie Gibson.
I do like Debbie Gibson.
We grew up on her.
I do like Debbie Gibson. I had a massive crush on Tiffany when I was in grade school.
Oh, that was the rivalry. Debbie wrote her own music. Tiffany just did the covers.
Debbie did. I thought that I liked Tiffany's. I liked the redhead. Tiffany it was purely
visual.
Visual. I was 11. And I was just like, oh my god, what's this? So I'm a big fan, but I've always been a big fan of female artists. I went to the Lilith Fair in the 90s probably 4 or 5 different times.
Oh, wow.
I saw to see the Cranberries. I wanted to see Tracy Chapman. I wanted to see Sarah McLachlan. Fumbling Towards Ecstasy by Sarah McLachlan is a record that had a massive effect on me. I ripped off all kinds of stuff from her lyrically. We have a song called Hold On because she has a song called Hold On.
And the Wilson Phillips, too.
Yes, they do. And that's a good tune. I don't care what anyone says. That song's a great song. But yeah,
I got into punk because of Wilson Phillips.
How?
Because I was a big Wilson Phillips fan, and that got me to the Go-Go's.
Okay.
And the Go-Go's got me into new wave and punk. They were a punk band when they started out. They're complete degenerates.
What do you think of, and this is more a reference because you brought up new wave. What do you think of the retro wave sound that people are doing nowadays?
I love it.
Do you dig it?
When they do it correctly instead of trying to be period.
Yeah.
It's inspired,
yeah,
and we're taking it and giving a new contemporary twist. I think it's great. If we're trying to pass like 1986, I don't like it.
Yeah, I completely agree, but it is such a, when people, like you said, when it's done right, it is such a cool aesthetic,
yes,
musical aesthetic, and it's something that feels very fresh and new nowadays.
And I'm also a troll, right? So when something works on 2 levels and you're saying something in your context, but your subtext is like, this is us when we were kids.
Yeah.
So you're sending me messages to channels like that really resonates with me a lot as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so into it, and I'm extremely happy that is something that you're seeing in more places now. I
feel like there's obviously this is a word that you're going to be a fan of with your music. I love the sense of defiance.
Yeah.
So if you are being told this is cliche and outdated and stupid and lame, and someone's owning it, like, we're gonna have the synths and it's going to.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about I don't have a big list. Mark,
and go ahead, just please. Pause 1 second. And the fact that you point out if it's good.
Yeah.
Because that makes the troll just that much better.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not just I'm doing it to annoy you. I'm doing it to annoy you, and I'm kicking ass at it.
Yes.
So yes, absolutely. Same page. Absolutely.
Mark McGrath, Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
Which is not a particularly good band. People enjoy it, more power to them. Mm-hmm. Whatever. They're not trying to be innovative particularly. Yep. They're just a fun party band.
Sure.
They had that song When It's Over, and during the video, each member of the band fantasizes about what they would be like if they were on their own like band. And one of them is like a hardcore band or whatever. And Mark McGrath's fantasy is they're Duran Duran. and they're there with the ruffles
Yeah.
and the makeup, and I'm like, this is so badass that he's like the dude, and he's like, no, give us the blush. This is what I was when I was a kid. Oh my god, I want to be like Simon
Yeah.
LeBon, and it was so great. I had such respect for him for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and
That's
he's pitching it, and
Yeah.
the record label's like, "What are you
What are you
doing?
talking about,
We're not
man?
putting you in purple like Prince." He's
It's
like,
gonna
"No,
be great, man. It's
And
gonna
it
be
was great.
Yeah, it was, and he was right.
Phil, we're running out of time.
Okay.
What has been your favorite part of this interview?
The acknowledgement that the fact that you acknowledge that Planet Fitness is a legitimate place to exercise. That's been my favorite part of the interview.
Get out of my studio. You sicken me.